We're not done, and LCQ still to come. There's a look at your finishing results. Trenton Briley, Reese Newer, Kyle Cooper, John Capps, Brock Dickerson, Darren Hardesty, and Liam Sheen. Their nights come to an end. They are eliminated from tonight's Fistful of Bourbon Pro 2 Showdown. Let's take a look at your Fistful of Bourbon starting grid for LCQ number 2. Mikey Lawrence and Sean Stratton on the front row, along with William Booth and David Abodio on row number 2. That'll be 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, 5th through 8th, Bodie Kreider, Jesse Isidore, Chad Reed, and Keith Jeffrey. Jeffrey, he had that really exciting spill earlier in the weekend. And Holden Heitritter and Blake Bilko Williams going to round out our top 10.
I didn't even know I transferred. Sweet.
Six laps. The track temp is 98 Fahrenheit.
The 10 trucks once more fighting for 3 transfer positions into, if these heats at LCQs have been any indication, an absolute thriller of a 24-truck, 10-lap final. That is next.
Alright guys, same thing as the last time. You can't transfer to the main in the first corner, but you can sure end your ability to. So let's just try to get it through that first lap as clean as possible.
But before we can get there, we have to send 3 more drivers through to tonight's feature race. Green flag flies. We're racing for the last chance qualifier.
Thanks, good luck, have fun.
V10.
Let's see what happens here as we go down. We've seen some excitement in this corner so far, Evan.
Keep it steady. Still there. Hold your line. On your left, clear to the left.
So far, so good. And there we go. One truck up and over and into the flowers. Somebody nearly ended up in the water, and up at the front of the field, Mikey Lawrence being challenged by Sean Stratton for the lead.
Mikey Lawrence, real-world trophy truck racer, also dabbling in the sim quite a bit here on iRacing. He's looking pretty strong there, but Stratton, you know, he's kind of laying back. You know, he's got a few laps. He's going to try and set something up.
On your left, clear left, left side, clear left.
Lawrence is now leading.
And a great battle for the lead. 3rd place at the moment is William Booth. That is the bubble in that blue and white number 51 truck. But up at the front of the field, that 72 is Stratton trying to find an inside spot through the hairpin. Doesn't happen this time. And you kind of see behind. The top 2 are breaking away. The 3rd on back, much tighter together. Does Stratton make a move for the lead to the inside?
V2.
Not trying to hold you up, Sean. Just trying to make a move.
Right side.
How about do that?
Still there. Clear to the right.
number 1. He'll have to get hard on the brakes. Does the 85 let him go? He does. Lawrence does not want to play that game, and it is Sean Stratton to the lead.
Yeah, Mikey Lawrence, you can tell just a lot of room there. Goes, this is way too early in this LCQ. We're sitting here out front. I don't want to risk anything. Let's keep the truck clean. He kind of conceded the position, it looked like, a little bit.
With Stratton kind of throwing it in there on the bottom at a high-speed braking point, he said, that's all you. Let's ride on board. This is with Jesse Isidore. That is a whole lot of not the racetrack, and he is upside down in the flowers. Tough break for the driver who started on the cusp of a transfer spot in P6, and right there you can see hiked up behind him was that the 36 of Blake Vilco-Williams, and it ended up putting him off track and upside down in the fountain. I know it's a scenic shot, but I know Isidore did not want to be the driver to give it to us.
Yeah, everybody loves the fountain. You just don't love to end up in the fountain. But like you said, probably one of the most scenic crashes we've seen yet. We got a lot of contact there. Was that Chad Reed looked like brake checking, and it looked like Keith Jeffrey getting in the back of him.
The 88 machine was involved in that one. Holton Heitrid on the 512 also. So that was all the action going on mid-pack outside of the transfer spots. Now back to a live look at the fight for the lead. Stratton's got it, and again, Mikey Lawrence kind of backed out of that one to not make it too much of a fight, but they are being caught by both third and fourth position. First and second, not as safe as they appeared to be about 2 laps to go. Booth, still the bubble truck. There he is in the 51, but you're on board. Dave Bodio, he's the driver who needs one more spot to get a feature ticket, and he can see 3 opportunities just up the road. And does a mistake happen? It seems like that has been kind of the Achilles heel for most drivers. It hasn't really been somebody dumping you or, some sort of an incident like that. It's been maintaining a clean race and staying mistake-free. You can have a little bit of a slower lap, give up a couple of tenths here or there to keep the truck on track, but if you push it and you fence it, that's 5-6 seconds gone, and you can basically kiss a transfer position away. Those top 4 were real tight together last lap at this point. They have separated out just a little bit more, but amongst all 4 of them, the difference is only about 2 seconds. Looking from high and above at William Booth, the driver on the bubble. For the moment, so far so good. But I feel like he wants to make a move to Mikey Lawrence sooner rather than later, and then put Lawrence in that position of kind of being the driver on the edge. And we saw Lawrence be a little bit passive when Stratton made the move, Jim. I don't expect him to do the same if Booth tries to make a pass, because he knows if I fall back to third, then I'm really in trouble.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of a buffer there, sitting in the second spot. He definitely doesn't want to drop back to the third spot. So, he gave a little bit of leeway to Stratton, but it's not going to happen for this next one. You definitely don't want to be in that bubble spot at all. And Mikey Lawrence, it looks like he's starting to push back a little bit. Those laps are starting to tick in. He's really been in groove. And we may see him at some point make a move back for that first spot. Now he's been sitting behind Stratton for a couple laps. He's been able to see the lines as Stratton runs. And you know what? Mikey Lawrence may have a spot picked out where he's going to tuck his nose in there and try and make something stick.
It's always good to be able to absorb, right? These drivers have been practicing all week or after quite some time on the sim, but to be able to run behind some of these drivers, be out there in a full pack, I think gives them a real good opportunity to kind of learn some things. And if somebody beats you off the corner, well, you're looking at them. You can kind of see what they did differently than you. Is a constant learning process for these guys. That time by, it was 2 laps to go. We're working lap number 5 of 6 in this final LCQ. Still no changes up front. Who's going to be the first one to falter? It looks like that Bodio is within striking distance if he wants to put a chrome horn to Booth. The question is, though, and if he wants to get that.
Yep, we're seeing. Look at that. Just these top three are just running such good lines through here. No mistakes to be had. It looks like they're all in unison. Nobody's really picking up any time on each other. This is kind of interesting. All three with almost identical lap times, the same lines. It's going to be really tough for somebody to make a move now. Now the number 16 Bodio, as you said, he's starting to push Booth a little bit, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting. They're all running almost identical laps.
We're on board with Dave Bodio in the 16 truck. Let's ride for a minute.
Clear to the left. Come on, Sean. One more lap. Keep it together. We're winning this. That lap was at 135.8.
White flag in the air. We saw they touched in that final corner. Is that a sign of things to come? Bodio still about a half a truck length away from a ticket to the feature.
Yeah, he is pushing. He is trying. We're going to see if he can make something happen here, but he is definitely this is where, all bets are off. He's going to send it. He knows he's going home if he doesn't, and you're going to see some fireworks here with only a few corners remaining. You watch Dave Bodio. He is going to throw this thing in. I would not want to be William Booth.
And if you're Booth, do you expect it coming? How well can you drive defensively here? Look at the 16 truck now looking to the inside for the real tight right-hander. He'll throw it in there in turn 8. They touch Booth into the wall, and it'll be a drag race down Seaside Way. Outside is Booth, inside is Bodio. Only one of these drivers can make it to the feature. Hard on the brakes for Booth, though. They touch again. He stays in front, now sideways, door to door. Bodio the advantage. He'll have the inside for the hairpin. What does Booth do from the outside? Goes for the crossover, can't do it. And with the last corner pass, Dave Bodio is going to advance to the feature. The LCQ is won by Sean Stratton. So well executed. The top three that advance, it's going to be Stratton, Lawrence, and Bodio. It'll be a ticket home for Booth, Cryer, Heitritter, Reed, Jeffrey, Williams, and Isidore. So that was a lot of racing in about 60 minutes of time, and I almost wonder if there's drivers who had to go to the LCQ gym will maybe benefit from the fact that they had a little bit more track time, right? Going out there for another set of 6 laps. Of course, they'll be towards the rear. What I'm really looking forward to for this main is going to be that top 6 invert.
Yeah, I think that top 6 invert's going to be key. You got a guy like Sant who, we saw it run really strong. Now he's going to be starting, behind some drivers. And, it's kind of one of those things like you had talked about. None of the guys really played it to their favor, but, if you would have let up, it actually would have benefited you a bit. And, these guys didn't. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that comes into play. I mean, Tiffany, we got to put you on the spot. You've called all these. I mean, Cam Peterson, he's going to be starting all the way in the back. What do you think we're going to see out of him?
I mean, even though Cam's starting all the way in the back, we're looking at some of my notes right here. He is just a great driver. He started in the back in different ones, including the Crandon World Cup, and then made his way all the way to the front. So just because you're in the back, but like you've said, we do that for the drivers that are the fastest, and he's one of the top sim iRacers out there. And with that being said, of course he's going to drive fast. He has a little bit. He's actually had 6 extra laps compared to some of the other guys out there. So I think that might play an advantage because he has that extra time, the extra seat time out there at Laguna Seca right now.
Well, one thing we talked about, guys, as well earlier, right, when we were racing in some of the other events this year, was track time, right? The obvious advantage to the sim racers. Long Beach, as we've talked about a couple times tonight, is so new to the iRacing service. Somebody like a Cam Peterson, who at Crandon, at Wild West, and some of these other places would probably just have hundreds, if not thousands, of laps under his belt just based on racing on the sim all the time, probably didn't necessarily have that same advantage into this race. He's had a couple of issues, so maybe that's why he's had the up and down in this one, Jim, but maybe this could be the race where we see an underdog or maybe one of the non-sim pros have a better chance, per se, because it's a newer track. Nobody really has a ton of experience banked.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be interesting. We're going to see who can really, be diverse. And I don't know. I'm going to defer to you, T. What are your thoughts on Ronnie Anderson? I mean, this guy can drive 4-wheel drives. He can drive 2-wheel drives. He can drive just a bit of everything. He's a real-world guy. He impressed me the way he drove from the back. What are your thoughts on Ronnie Anderson heading into this main event?
I mean, I've actually had the pleasure to see Ronnie Anderson race in real life. And, coming off UTV World Championships earlier this year when we had them, out in Arizona. And Ronnie's just a great driver overall. And I think when you take a little bit of real world racing and then throw in exactly what Evan was saying, that nobody really has a lot of time on this track or on this course at all, put all that together. And I think the big thing, though, for everybody going into this is just staying calm, not hitting that fountain turn, as fast as they normally would, and then just keeping it on, all 4 wheels on there. But the big one is staying calm and staying present to what's going on.
And I think I'm going to have to put the over-under on how many trucks are involved in something in turn 1, I think, as a big key for what happens in this main event.
Yeah, I truthfully, I think I would rather either be starting first or starting last. But I wouldn't want to be in the middle heading into those first couple of corners because we've seen a lot of fireworks.
We've seen 10 trucks-ish, 10 to 13 in these heats in the LCQs. Going to be nearly double that as we get set to go racing for the features. So we'll take a quick opportunity to step aside, and when we come back, it is the main event on the line. 5 tickets to the 2021 World Cup on the line. You're watching the Jim Beaver eSports Fistful of Bourbon Pro 2 Showdown. The feature race is next on RaceSpot TV.
That's some smooth whiskey.
Yeah, about as smooth as my silk pajamas.
You always wear them silk pajamas?
Sure as shooting. Put these on, it's like laying in a hotel bed made of creme brulee.
I just came back from France. Casual chic is all the rage.
Voulez-vous coucher pajama, my man?
I didn't understand a word of that.
It ain't just a bourbon, it's a damn fistful.